Let's revisit Medical Properties Trust and talk a bit around the stability of this stock, what's been going on with the operations side and what's going on with cash flows and dividends. As you can see, they have had a history of increasing dividends and then they cut by 50% here, so now they're only paying 15 cents a share quarterly. The next dividend will be for those who held shares on December the 7th. They will get a payout on January 11th of this 15-cent dividend. In terms of the third quarter, we have some positive news regarding the stability of the dividend. We can see that the troublesome tenant here, Prospect Medical Holding, they were able to collect cash rent payment in September and October from prospects. So this is good news indeed for investors, and if we look at the third quarterly earnings here from September, we can see that earnings per share was indeed quite nice. 19 cents a share here in diluted earnings per share, more than enough to cover the current dividend levels. Although the company is also focusing on selling off properties to increase stability. They've done so in Australia, for example, selling back hospitals. Unfortunately, this is something that we're seeing from all the properties companies around the globe right now, whether it's a German one, or it's a Swedish or American. In this case, they're selling off properties in Australia as well, hospitals, back to the operators. And this is something that will, of course, affect long-term growth. However, it's needed to sustain the companies short-term, especially since these plans were initiated in an environment of increasing interest rates, and this can be very dangerous for a company with a large burden of debt when the amount of interest on that debt increases. Quite dangerous. The strategy now is to repay the net debt, and this is something that they still have a lot on their hands regarding. However, we can see that now the interest rates are no longer increasing. They have stabilized here quite recently, and this has also affected share price. The share price is no longer dropping off. So indeed, the stage is set for a recovery, and this is why I bought more shares in this company here in late December. You saw the portfolio update video where I showed you the transactions just a few weeks ago. I uploaded that video, and the reason behind that is this new, more stable environment for property companies when interest rates are no longer increasing. And I think that Medical Properties Trust indeed will be able to stabilize with Prospect here. Of course, this is a gamble, this is high risk, but also potential for high reward. We can see that in terms of where the stock price is trading, it's not as low as in the big housing crisis in 2008, but it's quite close to that. It's very low right now. They were able to recover back then. I think they will be able to recover now as well. I don't see that the situation is worse than it was back in 2008. I think there's still a lot of fear in the market. And recently I was just reminded about how Wall Street tend to play us small retail investors in this when I saw Bill Ackman on Bloomberg News crying about how the worst was still to come for the property companies. I bet he will buy a lot of them for himself. He will buy options probably. Remember back before the pandemic when he was crying on Bloomberg saying how the economy is going to end, and he was holding a ton of puts, making billions of dollars from that. So just performance from Wall Street. I think that we will see them picking up more shares in property companies now, shares that tend to be sold by retail investors such as ourselves. I looked at the data from one of the brokers in Sweden, and I saw that a property company, SBB, that was quite popular by retail investors in the past, was one of the most sold companies. So retail investors, small-time investors like ourselves are selling out of these companies, and I think that right around now is the time where institutions will start to pick up these companies with the more stable interest rate environment and the potential for gains in companies such as Medical Properties Trust. Alright, that's been it for this video, and as always, hope you guys make a ton of money, whatever investments you decide to make. Take care now. Bye bye.